What's going on, guys? Merry Christmas and welcome to the final night of the Ho Ho Oh Project Potter Holiday Special, guys. My name is Kyle, your host, guys. Thanks for checking out the channel. This is the final night concluding our 25 straight nights of Christmas movie reviews, guys. Night 25, we are reviewing National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Fantastic movie, guys. If you haven't been to the channel before, appreciate you stopping by. What I do is go through my favorite scenes of the movie, guys. I give a favorite character, a least favorite character, a score out of 10, and in the final definitive Ho Ho Oh rankings, guys, which is going to be the 25 movies ranked out, grab your Moosehead eggnog and let's go. So many classic scenes in this movie. This movie is hilarious. I love this movie. Chevy Chase is like at his best, at his peak, I think, in this movie. But the whole cast of characters is great. There's a lot of big names in there. It starts off with this like Fast and Furious-esque scene where they're driving there, and then these guys are like trying to run them off the road, and he's like, "Look, I'm in complete control of the situation." And then he ends up like kind of crashing the car. The car breaks down, and then they have to walk down to the trees, and they're like, "Oh, honey, the kids are getting frostbite." And he's like, "That's part of the experience, honey. That's the Christmas spirit." And they go over there, and they finally get a tree. And then he's like, "Dad, do you have a saw?" And then I don't know how they got the tree, but we get that hilarious imagery of the car and the tree is just completely over it. And so they get home and he's like, "The Griswold family Christmas tree." And he opens it up and breaks all the windows. And then he goes, "A little sappy in here. It's a little sappy." And there's that funny scene where they're in bed and he's got the magazine there and he's just like, it keeps sticking to his hands and he's like, trying to wave it off. And man, the physical comedy, the prop comedy is so good. I mean, he's on the ladder and he's like, the ladder falls against a tree and then he goes back up and he's falling, and just like the way he keeps moving his hands and stuff. And this is really, really excellent stuff by Chevy Chase. The scenes aren't necessarily that funny, but he elevates them so much because he's so good and he's so funny in his facial expressions and his comedy. And it's just like kind of like watching an SNL skit, but it's like a full-fledged production. And it's really, really great, dude. And you can see why he's like a legendary actor and comedian. He really carries this movie. But guys, then we get Cousin Eddie later on, and Cousin Eddie comes on and he's great and he's hilarious and talks about the metal plate in his head. And now he's like, I had to switch it to plastic because he's like, every time she ran the microwave, I'd piss my pants and forget who I was for 30 minutes. And then so he's like, "I gotta put a plastic one in there now." That's the sledding scene where he's like, "Oh, we made this oil. It's slicker than any other oil ever." And he's like, "Let me put it on the bottom of this." He's like, "Going for a new land record." And they're like, "Have you ever tried that on a sled?" He's like, "No." And he's like, "All right." And he just goes flying down and so fast and he's out of control. And just so many great scenes, guys. I mean, the cat in the box where I don't even know, like he's like getting a present and they're like, "Oh, is it gonna be fine?" And then I think it's because they're like trying to hook up all the lights. He like shakes the box and the cat's like, "Wow." And then they leave the cat there, and then they end up like frying the cat, and then goes through the rug, and it's just an outline of a cat. It's so funny. The whole light scene. I mean, it's like I feel like an iconic shot where he's like got the lights, and he's trying to figure out what's going on. He's kicking over the reindeer and the gnomes and stuff, and then he's like, "Why won't the lights work?" And I think it's his dad. Like he's like, "Ah, the little lights aren't flickering." He's like, thank you, Dad. I know that." And he finally like puts it together and he just happens to hit it at the same time that his wife, there's like a switch in the bathroom or whatever, and then it blows everything up. We get the neighbors that are awesome. It's like that guy with the slick back hair and then Elaine from Seinfeld, and they're like all these all weird suits on and they're like coming around and they're making fun of him and they're like just the crazy neighbors. But yeah, man, there's just so many great scenes in this movie. The uncle or whatever burns the tree down later, and then he's like, "Does this smell like gas to you?" And then later on, at the end of the movie, guys, they see it's like a gas line, and he throws a cigarette there and lights it up, and then they sing like the Star Spangled Banner or whatever at the end. And yeah, there's so many scenes, guys. I'm sure I'm forgetting some for sure. I mean, they kidnap the boss at the end, and then he gives that big impassioned speech, but talking about how he wants a pool and how he's like, "Hey, you can't take away our bonuses when people rely on them." And I'm like, it's kind of the point of a bonus. You shouldn't rely on it. But it was a nice story, guys. And he's drinking the eggnog and he's like, so good. Oh, he gets stuck in the attic. I almost forgot about that. And then he's like, it's a nice moment. He's actually watching like the old family movies and the music's playing, and he's freezing and he's like wearing like the surgical gloves or whatever and the hat or the towel wrapped around. And then she comes back home and opens the attic and he just falls through. And there's just so much prop comedy and so much humor, and this movie is genuinely like hilarious, and it's just really great. And I had a great time watching this. Oh, one scene, guys, I wanted to mention, I can't believe I forgot this, is when he's talking to the attractive girl at the mall or whatever, and he's like, "Oh, it's a bit nipply in here, nippy. It's nippy." He's like, "Oh, that nips up." Or, "Ooh, it's a little hot. It's a hooter in here. Ooh, ooh." And he's like, "Oh yeah, that's my log," or he's like, "Not that I have a log," but he's like, "Not that the way that you mean it." And it's really funny. And then she's like showing him the panties and stuff, and she's like, "These are high waist." So she's like, "See, I've got some on right now." She's like, "You can't see the line," and then he's like, "Can't see the line, can you, Russ?" That's a great scene, and it just really funny. So I didn't want to forget that scene. Okay, guys, as much as I want to give this one to Chevy Chase, and he was so good, I think he kind of carries this movie a little bit. I'm gonna give this one to Cousin Eddie because once Cousin Eddie comes in, man, it just the movie gets taken up another notch, and I love seeing him like make Clark and the Griswolds like uncomfortable, and he's like openly sexual about his relationship with his wife, and he's like, "Well, we're getting pretty cozy in the trailer," and he's got the moose eggnog, and he goes and kidnaps the boss at the end and brings him, and he's like, "Dude, what's going on?" And the line where he says, he used to piss his pants and forget who he was for 30 minutes. He's just so funny in the way he talks about everything, and everyone's got that cousin Eddie, and so he's ridiculous, and he's like kind of a bum, but he means well, and he comes in, and I just think he changes the whole movie, and I thought he was excellent. So cousin Eddie is my favorite character in this one. The least favorite character for this one, there aren't really any hateable characters in this one or annoying characters. I thought everyone kind of played their role nicely, and I feel like I've done this for a lot of these reviews for this Ho Ho Ho, guys, but I think we've picked a lot of really good movies. Some not so great, but I think a lot of really strong movies, and I think the best movies, they don't really have that character that like sticks out. You're like, oh my God, so annoying. So I thought the whole cast was really, really good, and they all kind of sprinkled in their parts. And so I don't have a worse character for this one. Okay, guys, that brings us to the score. And guys, this is going to be the third 10 out of 10 for this review. And you guys might be thinking, Kyle, you're giving out 3 10s in this Project Potter holiday special. What is going on here? I'm going to tell you guys right now. When we get to the rankings, I'll explain where it falls, guys. But this movie, it's like comfort food. It's great. First of all, it has the best music of probably any Christmas movie. It opens with the slap. It ends with the slap. It's really great. It's just genuinely a hilarious, fun time. I mean, there's something for everyone in this movie, right? Whether you like the sledding scene, whether you like the cat getting electrocuted, the light scene, the attic scene, guys, the Christmas tree, the sap. There's so much, guys. Cousin Eddie, all of his stuff where he's talking about his dog, and he's like, you love him and he'll love you forever. And he's talking about like how his dog's got like a huge dick, and it's like Cousin Eddie, man. And at the end, they kidnap the boss, and then the boss is like, I wasn't gonna get rid of the Christmas bonuses, and they're like, of all the ways to save a penny, and he's like, I was thinking about it. It's just really, really funny, dude. And I just love like the kids are fun, and the whole dynamic, the older generation, like the adults, everyone just fits along so well. And I like the neighbors part, and they're like kind of into like weird kinky sex stuff, and then they're like, oh, let's like I can't see in the dark or whatever, and she's like, you're gonna have to bust down that door if you want in, and then like the SWAT comes in or whatever, and they're like trying to get him on assault, and it's just the whole thing. But I just thought this movie is great. It's a Christmas classic. It's something I can put on anytime, and I don't think there's really like a bad scene in this movie. The pacing is great. The energy it brings, it's awesome, dude. This movie's great, and that's why it gets that perfect score. Okay, guys, that brings us to the final, definitive, the very last Ho Ho Oh rankings, guys. 25 movies, guys. I already told you this was a 10 out of 10, so you might be thinking, Kyle, does it go ahead of Die Hard, number one, the 10 out of 10 masterpiece that it is? Does it go ahead of number two, Spirited, at a 10 out of 10? Or does it slot in number three at a 10 out of 10? Where does it fall on a 10 out of 10 scale, which is like a scale within a scale? I'm going to tell you guys right now that this one goes at number two. Behind Die Hard, which is number one, 10 out of 10, masterpiece class. If that is a thing, it is now. Die Hard is the ultimate Christmas movie. It doesn't take it down, but it goes right there, right behind it, guys. And again, this is comfort food. This is a very different tone than Die Hard, obviously, but it's right there. I can watch this movie at any time from start to finish and have a great time, especially when you get some alcoholic eggnog, dude, or you get some beers or anything, get some buddies around or some friends and family. It's a great watch. It's mostly a family movie. There's obviously some language in there, but for the most part, it's pretty great. So I think this is a great watch, and this one's going to go into number two, guys. So we have Die Hard, number one, 10 out of 10, the ultimate Project Potter Christmas movie. Number two, guys, is going to be National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, also at a 10 out of 10. Then number 3, guys, we have Spirited at a 10 out of 10. Very underrated movie, very good movie. The surprise of the list for sure. Like I could not believe how great Spirited was and how it stood up, guys. Like I mentioned, I think it was the 3rd movie I reviewed, and it ended up being number 3 overall out of the 25, and that the 10 out of 10, one of 3 10 out of 10s. And so really, really excellent movie, guys. Again, go check that out. Not to self plug, but go check out all the reviews, of course, the last 24 nights. But Spirited, telling you guys, you're going to like it a lot. So then, guys, we got Home Alone at number 4 at a 9.9. We got number 5, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer at a 9.8. Number 6, Bad Santa at a 9.7. Number 7, Daddy's Home 2 at a 9.6. Number 8, Love Actually at a 9.5. Number 9, The Santa Claus at a 9.4.8. Number 10, 8 Crazy Nights at a 9.4. Number 11, Disney's A Christmas Carol at a 9.3. Number 12, The Night Before at an 8.6. Number 13, Jingle All the Way with Turbo Man at 8.4. Number 14, Just Friends at an 8.3. Number 15, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the 2002 Jim Carrey movie at an 8.2. Number 16, Elf at a 7.8. Number 17, A Muppet Christmas Carol, 7.4. Number 18, Klaus at a 7.1. Number 19, Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special at a 6.6. Number 20, Deck the Halls at a 6.5. Number 21, The Polar Express at a 6.1. Number 22, A Charlie Brown Christmas at a 5.7. Number 23, Christmas of the Cranks at a 5.3. Number 24, A Christmas Story to 2.5. And rounding out the list, guys, at number 25, It's a Wonderful Life, but that was not a wonderful movie. And guys, those are our definitive ho-ho-oh rankings. Mark them down, guys. Let me know what you thought. Do you agree with this list? Do you disagree? Send me your list, guys. Comment with your list. What would you guys put in there? Did I miss any movies that you think are, belonging of that top 25? I think we got all the big ones. And then there's a couple in there that are kind of hit or miss. But I mean, just the fact that there's 25 different Christmas movies is pretty astounding in itself, like quality Christmas movies to varying degrees, guys. But for the most part, these were all pretty good. Very, very happy with this list and where it stands, and some really, really good ones. I'd say the top, looking at the list here, guys, like the top, I don't know, 8 or 9, maybe even 10, I could watch at any point. Obviously, the heavy hitters at the top there: Die Hard, Spirited, Home Alone. Rudolph is short enough, but Bad Santa, Daddy's Home 2, Love Actually. Love Actually is a little bit longer, and it's a little bit more of an emotional ride, but really from Daddy's Home 2 up, dude, I could watch those at any time and have a great time. And a lot of those are comedies or have comedic pieces there, so I think Christmas and comedy kind of go together. But those are the ho-ho rankings, guys. Let me know what you thought for 25 nights. Okay, guys, well, that brings us to the end of our journey here. Guys, I want to thank you guys so much for joining me on this journey. 25 straight nights. I am going to take a much-deserved nap. When Santa fits his fat white ass down that chimney, he's going to see the jolliest bunch of assholes this side of the North Pole, guys. And I will be there because I will be taking a nice snooze, guys. I had a blast out doing this. I'm so glad I decided to do this, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. It really was a great time getting in the spirit of Christmas and seeing the different movies and seeing kind of the things that overlap, and some movies that really surprised me and some that let me down. But I really, really loved every night kind of coming home, putting on the movie, getting in the review mode, putting this out for you guys. So I hope you've enjoyed it. It's been a lot of content, guys. We will not be posting every day for the channel, but I am looking to post more often. So keep an eye out for that, guys. Like I said, there's a lot of content I've been working on in the back. And the back, I say, like there's like a room back there. I've been working on a lot that's not yet released yet, guys. So there is stuff coming. I'm still working on phase 2. We're almost done with that. So keep an eye out, guys. I appreciate you stopping by. Like, comment, subscribe, of course. Merry Christmas, guys. Stay safe. Spend some time with your loved one, your families, guys. I think the story in most of these Christmas movies is that it's not like Clark says at the end, man, even though they get the pool at the end, it's not about the gifts or anything like that. It's the people and the loved ones you're around, guys. So spend some time with your family and friends, guys. Tell people you love them. Make up any fights you got, make that up, guys. Be kinder to people, be safe, be jolly. One last thing I want to say, guys, is thank you so much to every single one of my subscribers, guys. You guys were all incredible. I do this for you guys. Without you guys, there is nothing. So there's no Project Potter. So thank you guys so much. I really do appreciate each and every single last one of you. And guys, if you're not a subscriber, that's totally fine. Just want to tell you how much of a cheap, lying, no good, rotten, poor fucking, low life, snake licking, dirt eating, inbred, overstuffed, ignorant, blood-sucking, dog-kissing, brainless, dickless, hopeless, heartless, fat-ass, bug-eyed, stiff-legged, spotty-lipped, worm-headed sack of monkey shit you are. Hallelujah. Holy shit. Don't cut me off. This is my show.